On the usually quiet streets of Sheffield, England, on 12 April 2016, a chilling tragedy unfolded. It was a tale of love that turned to darkness, to betrayal and unspeakable violence. This is the story of Tapiwa Douglas Furusa, a man whose actions would forever stain the memory of a young woman, Lean Mahachi, who was only 22 years. Spotswood Close was a modest neighborhood in Sheffield. It was the setting of this harrowing experience. It was here that Mahachi, 22, a bank worker, lived her ordinary life. The streets were familiar and her neighbors were friendly, and there was a promise of a bright future hanging in the air. Tapiwa Furusa, 37, of Leonard Place, Claydon Way, Colchester, had once been part of Leanne's life, a lover and a person she could confide in. However, the relationship turned sour. It momentarily bloomed with hope, but soon withered into unparalleled resentment and anger. She dumped Tapiwa on realizing that he was seeing other women. On the fateful day in April 2016, as Leanne prepared to go to work, Tapiwa attacked. His rage knew no bounds. He was armed with a knife and he confronted her outside her home. This was not typical of a person who was described as a property broker, a professional. Witnesses later recounted how frenzied and unrelenting the man was as he stabbed Leanne repeatedly, up to 40 times. The once quiet neighborhood turned into a scene of horror. It is said that Tapiwa was an abusive and obsessive partner, and soon after they parted ways, he would use withheld numbers to call her. He simply couldn't let her go. If he couldn't have her, no man could. This is the reason why he decided to take her life. When Leanne was stabbed by her former boyfriend, there were desperate attempts to save her. As blood spilled onto the pavement, Leanne's neighbors rushed in to her aid. They grabbed blankets and towels to stop the bleeding. However, it was too late. The damage had already been done and nothing could be done to save it. Leanne's mother, upon hearing her daughter's screams, ran out of the house. The horrified mother watched helplessly as Tapiwa Douglas Furusa mercilessly took the life of her lovely daughter. What she saw was unthinkable, unimaginable, unbelievable. Tapiwa leaned above her and appeared deranged. He lashed out at the top half of her body with a knife. Mahachi was taken to hospital but died as a result of her multiple stab wounds. Tapiwa then fled from the scene, leaving behind a lifeless Leanne. He drove to Manchester as members of the community were gripped by both fear and panic. Love had unfortunately turned to violence. They say there is a thin line between love and hatred. This is a typical example. Tapiwa, who had previously shown a tender heart, had become so merciless that he couldn't listen to her pleas as she begged for mercy. He had to end her life to achieve his end. It did not matter how. When he got to Manchester, far from the blood-stained streets of Sheffield, Tapiwa then turned himself in to the police. What he said to the police was typical of a cold-blooded killer. I stabbed my girlfriend and I think she is dead. He had the audacity to call her his girlfriend when in fact they were no longer together. His remorse came too late. The deed had already been done and he had to face the music. Tapiwa Douglas Furusa was arraigned at Sheffield Crown Court 18 November 2016. He pleaded guilty to murder and he was convicted and remanded in custody to 19 December for sentencing at the same court. One of the detectives who had been at the crime scene said that at least the family did not have to endure a long ordeal of the trial period. As the judge pronounced his judgment, his voice echoed through the courtroom. Tapiwa was not fit to be in society. he had to be separated from those who were civil. Tapiwa was sentenced to life imprisonment, but it was more than that. He had to serve at least 26 years behind bars before parole could even be considered. Under normal circumstances, people sentenced to life have to serve at least 20 years, but this was not a normal circumstance. The Mahachi family, that is to say Lean's family, was totally devastated. It was shattered by grief and loss. Their cherished daughter, niece, sister, and friend had been taken away from them. It was a situation they could not adequately describe. The emptiness around them was indescribable. However, the people of Sheffield are said to have shown incredible compassion. They came to Lean's aid and they waited for the ambulance to arrive. That was the spirit of communality. The crude actions of Tapiwa serve as a stark reminder of how love can twist into something monstrous. It was a senseless and incredibly violent attack on a defenseless woman. Lean Mahachi's memory lives on. It is a beacon of light against violence, a plea for compassion, and a testament to the fragility of human bonds. The story of Tapiwa Douglas Furusa is one of tragedy, betrayal, and brutality. She was young and had a future ahead of her, but all that was taken away in a senseless, selfish, unprovoked, and frenzied attack. In the process, Tapiwa robbed Lean's family, her partner, and friends of an outgoing and extremely kind young woman who was much loved by her community. May her soul continue to rest in peace.